Every Star Trek experience I've had, I could be moved to tears. That's why I keep getting them, because I leave nothing to chance. I give it all. I've been doing this since I was 17. It's the only thing I've ever done. That's 50 years. 50 years. And I'm not stopping.
Damn right.
And always remember, your dreams may not be the specific thing, but the intent of what you want from the dream can happen. So follow you and inspire others.
Welcome back to Trek Untold, the Star Trek podcast that goes beyond the stars. I am your host, Matthew Kaplowitz. We're continuing our Trek Long Island 2025 coverage now with another panel I did on the main stage with two extremely lovely individuals and two amazing performers and, quite honestly, even more amazing human beings. Phil and Iona Morris are part of a very exclusive club, as I'm going to explain in the intro to this episode and to this panel, where they were among some of the folks, a very, very small number of folks, who were kids who acted in Star Trek the original series, who went on then to appear in the 90s series as well, which is a pretty amazing feat, and I'll mention the names who did that. It's a very, very tiny club. And I had Phil and Iona Morris back on my shows individually way back when this podcast first began, and we're talking 2020. Iona was on episode 6, Phil was episode 20, and they were both amazing interviews. They were some of my favorite interviews at the time, in fact, and it was amazing to be able to actually spend some time with them on stage. I'm not about to go over their entire resumes because I already did that 5 years ago, so if you want to hear all their stories from working on Star Trek, from working on other shows, and you want to really deep dive in both these actors' lives and careers, go ahead and check out those previous episodes. But for this panel here, yeah, we do dive into some of that stuff, but really, the panel took a very interesting turn. We started out talking about acting and performing and being in Star Trek and other TV shows and things like that, but the conversation kind of took its own shape, and it sort of became almost like an inspirational discussion. You know, Phil and Iona Morris, they are easily two of the most positive people I've been around ever, and their energy, it's just effervescent. These are people you really want to be hanging out with in real life, and the fact that I got to spend some time with them on stage was truly great. And that room that was the crowd that day that was part of that panel too, they walked out of there getting something very special. Really, the only words I can think about using for this panel would be life-affirming. They're going to make you want to get up and conquer the world. And I felt that way sitting on that stage with them in that moment. It was truly a special thing, and I'm really excited to share that with you who weren't able to actually be at Trek Long Island to enjoy that stuff there. And speaking of, by the way, if you want to follow more things Trek Long Island related, go ahead and visit treklongisland.com or follow them on all their social media feeds. We're starting to already announce some of the different things that are happening in 26. So far, we have announced our first headliner, which would be Nana Visitor from DS9. So make sure you're following them to stay up to date on everything that's going on with the convention in 2026. But again, as for this episode, we're talking with Phil and Iona Morris in a conversation that goes way beyond Star Trek into some realms that we really haven't gotten too deep into before in this show. And yeah, this is going to be something really, really special that you're going to truly enjoy.
So for our final panel for today, I'm going to bring Matt Kaplowitz up on stage from Trek Untold.
Cool. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the final celebrity panel here at Trek Long Island. Last panel, best panel. Let's do this together. That's all I want to hear. I want to move these mics, too. All right, I'm just going to bring our guests right on out here. And our guests are an interesting one in Star Trek history because they're in a very exclusive club of performers. There is not many performers in Star Trek history who did the original series as little kids and went on 20, 30 years later to do Star Trek again. Very few people. There's Clint Howard, there's Brian Tochi, and then there are today's guests. So please, may I welcome to the stage now Phil and Iona Morris. Have a seat. All right, so welcome to the Trek Long Island stage once again. And I just want to do a little quick fan service for myself here. I started my podcast, Trek Untold, in 2020. Iona was guest number 6. Phil, I believe, was guest number 20. I'm at 200 episodes now, and I'm still super excited to talk to you guys because you guys were, I think, two of the guests I had that really helped me figure my stuff out and get to a place I wanted to get, and you guys are rock stars. And if you guys don't know yet, you will find out why they are rock stars.
Thank you.
Let's dive into this here because we're going to start at the beginning, which would be Star Trek, the original series. And the episode is Miri. You guys are little kids. This was, I think, probably your first gigs, right? More or less, right?
Yep, sure was.
So I know it was a long time ago, but what memories do you have of walking around on that set and being there?
Well, we got 2 days off from school. And a whole bunch of food. You know, there was ice cream and cookies and stuff like that. It's so fun. I remember that there was this one time where, you know, the woman who had all the stuff on her, the one of us who grew old.
The grup,
right. And she came out, and it was scary, and we screamed, and we didn't know that was going to happen. And Phil, you reminded me of that the other day, that they did that. And working with all of them, they were so nice. We worked with William Shatner. He was very kind to us. And his 2 daughters were in the episode, and he was a good dad. And everyone was just very nice. It was a fun experience. And our dad was working on the lot, so we got to see him during the day. And I had a good time. I had no idea. Oh, my God. 59 years later, but I'm not that old, that we would be talking about it and it would be a gift of something that we were a part of, this beautiful Star Trek.
Absolutely.
So funny. I didn't remember that we got 2 days off school. I forgot that.
I was older.
Because I was so happy to be there. You know, I mean, I was just a little kid running around. If you come to my table or our tables and you see our faces, we don't know. We don't know what we're doing. We just running around. And that's exactly what they wanted. You know, they didn't want polished actor kids with polished actor lines and behavior, and that was certainly not us. One funny story was, so this was the dumbest thing a kid can do. Well, I did 2 really dumb things. One was when they asked us our name. Do you remember this at all?
I don't know.
So they went around, they asked everybody, tell everybody your name. So we had just gotten our report cards. So on your report card, it's your last name, comma, your first name, right? So what did I say? Morris, comma, Philip. It was so awesome. So dumb. And then the other thing was, okay, you know how when you're a kid, you put your foot out, you can stop anything, like the door, the shopping cart, right? The skateboard. I thought I could do that with a camera dolly. Do you remember that?
I do. Is that what you were thinking?
And it ran over my foot. And I went to the infirmary the first day. You remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Oh,
so,
God.
yeah, we were really kids. We weren't actors at all. So those 2 stories that I have never told.
Oh, I got another one.
See?
So Dad comes over and he goes, baby, this is me, I'm dead.
Baby.
They want to give you a line. Daddy, no, don't make me speak. Don't make me speak.
You didn't want any dialogue at all? You just wanted to
I
say
didn't
nothing?
dialogue. What was that word? I
Yeah,
didn't
right?
know. I was like, make me speak. So Phil got the line. And I think he might have gotten $5 more than me because he spoke.
That single line got him into SAG-AFTRA. That's
SAG-AFTRA, baby.
I tapped hardly on that. Yeah, it was
But
great.
what they did was they went around the lot because it was on Desilu. And so they went to, there's Mannix, Mission Impossible. Who else was there? What other shows were there, Phil?
The Brady Bunch, The Odd Couple, Bonanza.
Right. They went and they said, do you have kids between the ages of? And this is what we're looking for and how many kids. And they wanted children who were not actors, like Phil said, so they could really have honest reactions. And we had some honest reactions. I think one of the fun things was when we went grump, grump, and we could yell.
Buck, buck, bonk, bonk on the head.
Yeah. So, you know, that was fun because all of us could make noise. And...
Oh, yeah, and diving on that. I love diving on adults. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Diving? That was fun.
So you can tell why we do what we do now.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a bit about your dad, because we mentioned Desilu with Mission Impossible, your father, Greg Morris. And I'm kind of curious to hear about just...
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's give a hand
Thank
for Greg
you.
Morris.
Give it up, give it up, give it up.
And I just kind of want to ask you guys about your dad and I guess your relationship as, let's say, professionals, because you're essentially following his footsteps. I don't remember if you guys wanted to be actors as kids. Sounds like 6 years old, 7, maybe not. But, as time went on, I mean, did you talk to your dad about performing to seek advice or any input? Or was he kind of just like letting you guys do your own thing?
Well, I think for Iona and I might have been a little different. I don't know. My experience was they weren't thrilled that I wanted to be an actor. What our father went through was very hard. Even though he made it, what he went through in the society we lived in at the time was so against us that it was a very difficult uphill battle for him. And it didn't matter that he was successful. He was rare. And so my mom and my dad were really concerned about that choice for me, understandably. However, what they got pretty quickly was that I was determined to be who I needed to be. Yes, I took my influence from him, as we all do from our parents. But my decision was really rooted in my own desire and my own essence. And so I think when they recognized that, then they were cooler with it, and Dad was much more willing to give me advice. And I didn't really go to him for advice. I went to the other people around me who were more my age, who were in the business, Clark Brandon, Jonathan Prince, people who were actually working in the business at that time, who were my age, so that I could understand from their perspective what this journey was about. To go to my father, who was already an international superstar, and ask him about that I didn't think, wouldn't work for me. So I really found my voice and found myself, and I think they respected that.
They sure did. Yeah, I had the same experience. Dad did not want me to be an actress because he was worried about the casting couch. He knew that he was one of the few who were successful, so he said, I don't want you eating beans and spaghetti, when you're not having good spaghetti, And so for a while, I was like, okay. And then I just could not stop my passion. I had to be me. So I called a meeting with my parents. I was 21, I think, and I sat them down, and I said, I need to be an actress, and this is why, this is what I need to do. And they went, okay. When you claim who you want to be clearly, everybody gets it. And if they don't, they will be on the journey because they love you, but they will be there to say, I knew it! I knew. So it was not an easy journey, but it was worth everything to do this. And I would say Dad didn't give us advice, but what he did, he gave us a work ethic. Right? He gave us a respect for the crew, not only for the writers, the producers, the other actors. You have that, but for the crew. You aren't going to get good lights if you're not nice to that gaffer, and so forth and so on. So that we took with us into everything we do.
One of the questions I usually ask at the end of my podcast, I'm going to ask it here a little bit earlier, and that's, usually, what is the best advice someone ever gave to you about anything? But I'd like to direct this towards your father, towards Greg Morris. Mm-hmm. What was the best piece of advice, whether it's life or professional or anything else that he ever gave you that you still think about and you still use today?
Okay.
Dad gave a lot of advice. The one thing the first thing that came up is he said, if you don't tell people you're good, if you don't know you're good, how are they going to know you're good? And he kept saying, it's not about ego, it's not about conceit, because that was a big word when you're young. You're so conceited. It wasn't about that. It was about you knowing your value. And when you know your value and you treat yourself with value, people will treat you that way. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
That's amazing.
He had a lot of phrases. One was, one monkey don't run no show.
That's right.
So you just a bunch of monkeys in the show. And not one of you is more important than the other one of you, because you need all of you to link up and make this project, right? So and when you see us here, that's the same ethic I carry my whole life. I'm here for us. I'm not just here for me. Because if you aren't feeling us, I'm not here. And neither are you, right? You don't come to our table. You don't respond to our work. So we need you in a way, especially in the media. Because live, Iona does a lot of directing live, a lot of live shows. You feel it, you viscerally hear it right then in the moment. But when you're on TV, you don't get that. You have a crew, and they may come to you later and go, man, good work. But I need this to know the depth of my reach, right? I need you to come to me and say, job well done. Or, I think you could have been better. Anyway, whatever it is that you feel, I need to hear from you. So this is a part of it too. And no, one person or monkey does not run any show.
This is some gold right here. Some good stuff. So you guys have had almost like ships in the night kind of passing through in a lot of ways with the different works you've done in Hollywood, but there is a commonality besides Star Trek. And that would be one of my favorite shows, Murder, She Wrote. You guys both did Murder, She Wrote. I love hearing Angela Lansbury stories. I feel like everybody else in this room is going to like some Angela Lansbury stories. So what was it like working on that set?
Well, she was a queen. Okay, here's what I'll say. She was one of us and a queen.
Yeah,
That's the best.
People's queen.
Yes.
That's the best because they treat you like an equal, even though they're a legend. And I've worked with legends that did not treat me like an equal, actually treated me the way they thought. Our father also had a phrase, if you could buy someone for what they were worth and sell them for what they thought they were worth, you make a lot of money. So I've worked with a lot of people like that. Angela Lansbury was not like that.
Wow.
She and I had a scene with her, just she and I. And we she was as giving as any performer I've ever worked with. She bed knobs and broomsticks? I'm working with her. Yeah. So she, for me, was really very user-friendly in our business. That's really important to me because you need a good playmate in scenes. Can't be just one or the other. There has to be a balance. And she struck that balance, even though she was the executive producer of the show. She and her husband, and they brought such power and weight. But she was so accessible and so approachable. And as an actor, my goodness, it made all the difference.
I'd say I had a ditto experience with her. And that brings me to another one. You remind me that Dad said. He said, those who have really arrived in who they are as a person, they're lovely. But those wannabes, even successful wannabes who don't realize who they are, like the humbleness. Bob Hope, what a beautiful man. Lena Horne, what a beautiful person. But there are some people who you meet, he said, don't be that person. And she was gracious and giving of her talent. I was nervous as you know what, because that was Angela. And she gave to calm a young actress down. That was wonderful.
So
and that's what we try and do. That's what we do.
You do. You accomplish that.
That's what we do, yeah. Bill, not. He's the other week. I mean.
Well, not us. Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
You
Sorry.
haven't no? Okay. No, okay.
But, talk about your career, Iona, too. A lot of your work has earlier on in the 80s, 90s. You were kind of, when anime was first breaking into this country, a big part of it. You did a ton of voices and a lot of pretty heavy hitters in the anime world. Silent Mobius, Barefoot Gen, which is a rough one. That stuff is amazing. I kind of just want to take a step into early anime when it's kind of emerging in this country. What were those gigs like? How much screaming and yelling were you doing? And someone who probably didn't know much about what anime was, what did you think about this strange-looking thing with, again, Barefoot Gen? That's some pretty heavy stuff. What did you think about this sort of world?
Well, it was really interesting because Robotech took anime to a whole nother level in our country,
Shout
around the
out to Robotech.
world, right? So we had this dubbing company, and I was one of the actors hired for this new thing from Japan called Robotech. And so we all did it just as a gig, and then we saw it's beautiful, the way it was drawn, it was gorgeous, it was fun. We had no friggin' clue how it would touch people. We had no idea where this was going to go. And then it just changed anime, and then a lot more anime started coming over from Japan to be looped in. And so it was, and for all of us, we didn't know what anime was. We had no idea. But it informed us and took it to a whole nother level. I did cartoons, but I didn't do this. And it was early in my voiceover career when I did this. And I'm excited to see where it goes because so many people are into anime even now.
I'd say it's bigger now. I think it's safe to say.
It's just huge.
I think for me, as far as your voiceover work, the biggest thing that I know of you is Storm from the X-Men. X-Men the animated series. The original Storm, by the way. And
I'm the OG. They told me, someone came up and said, you're the OG. And I said, I'm going to use that.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wait, I got to tell you a story. So I get the job. Phil, at that time, you only had maybe 15,000 comics?
Maybe.
Okay, So I called my brother. Hi, Phil. So I got this job as Storm of the X-Men. He's the X-Men. He said, come over right now. And he pulls out this. He pulls out one of his comics, and it's in a sheet, the plastic thing. And you got to open it. I've got to wash my hands. And, right, okay. And now he's giving me the history. And as I watch him, he's turning 5. And he let me know. And then I was so proud to play this woman of color who I never saw when I was a kid, and to inspire so many people past being of a black woman. Women unite. Woohoo! I love you men too, but we're trying to get our thing together here. But to do that, it was wonderful.
And Phil, I actually do have to talk to you about your comics now because I'm a little jealous. Like we've talked a little about it, I think, on the episode we did together way back when. But for folks who don't know, your collection, my goodness, like that's a retirement fund right there.
It's pretty intense, yeah. But it's given me a lot of information about all the characters that I ended up playing in my actual career. Smallville, Doom Patrol, Justice League, Vandal Savage. I mean, it's just never ending, and it keeps going. And I feel like I have a deep cellular connection with all of these characters in a way that no other actor is going to be able to approach at all. And so that's why I keep doing it, and that's why I keep loving it. And it's a gift that keeps on giving. I just bought a comic literally before I came to the floor. I have not bought comics in 10 years or so, but it was a really special one, and kind of bargained with the guy. I gave him a picture, and it was like the old days all over again,
That's how you get it done.
Like one of you guys. I was out there going, okay, so if I give you a picture, how much do you really want for this? He's like, well, and I was like, sold.
That's amazing. Yeah, what'd you get, Phil? What'd you get?
I got Tales of Suspense, The Origin of Captain America.
This man has good taste. There's no denying that.
No. Say again?
This man has good taste. There's no denying that.
Right. I know of all of them, because I probably had the other ones that he had.
He's a connoisseur.
I did.
So I actually do want...
a lot of the new stuff. I just don't have a lot of the new stuff. There's so much.
It never ends.
Oh, my gosh.
It never ends now. And Storm being a literal goddess, you've done DC, you've done Marvel. I mean, you guys are just the comic world's united, really.
We are so fortunate.
Yes.
Very grateful.
And I think that nerdy stuff kind of will bring us back to Star Trek here, because, Phil, you were the first one of the pair of you guys to go back to the world of Trek. That was in Star Trek 3.
Yes.
You got to do a scene on the bridge with William Shatner. So that's kind of a big thing. Number one, you're going back into the world of Star Trek, and now it's a lot bigger than it was 20 years ago.
Massive.
And you're sharing the screen with the captain himself.
It was surreal. I mean, my whole career is surreal in a way, right? I mean, it's bananas having done New Mission Impossible. It's crazy. But to be with Mr. Shatner again.
Mr. Shatner.
To connect with him on a level that was more than just this little kid as like another workman in the space was beautiful. Leonard Nimoy directed the episode. He cast me. He directed us in that. So I was able to have a direct connection with their relationship. It's kind of like the final episode of Seinfeld. I was sitting at the table with everybody, and I got a chance to hear their stories for the last 10 years. For that week, I just heard their journey, So that's a really rarefied place to be. You're like the ultimate fly on the wall. And so being in that scene and seeing he and Mr. Nimoy communicate together as friends and compatriots, beyond money. Beyond. It's what we were all about, right? That's what we're all about. I said it yesterday. If I woke up tomorrow and I was floating above my bed, I'd look down and I'd go, I knew it. I knew it. If I looked through the wall, if I phased through a door, I'd be like, I knew it. Ultimately, I feel like I'm a superhero. Don't you? Right? Isn't that why we all relate to this? Because we really, inside, we've got an inner superhero, an inner explorer, an inner adventurer, an inner scientist, an inner doctor, engineer. We got it in us. That's why we relate. So it's not all about us and about that. You're bringing it, and we get it from you. So, I mean, it's super powerful, man.
Can I add something to that? Phil talks about he had his comics when he's a kid, right? And he's collecting. And I said this yesterday. My mother's like, hey, whoa, my God, how many more comics is this kid going to bring in the house? But you never know where somebody's germ of what they're going to be like as they get older. So when he goes in audition, I feel like I'm your PR person right now, honey. I'm your PR person. So when he goes into auditions and they talk to him about the character, he can tell them more than what they know. So don't ever think that what you did when you were 4, when you were 6, when you were 10 is not part of who you are now. Or those kids that are around you and you're like, why does she keep doing this or she keeps doing that? Inspire their imagination. Because you don't know where it's going to take us and where it takes our community. Because look at all of us here now. We wouldn't be here if Roddenberry had said, I'm going to stop. Not today. I'm afraid they're not going to like what I'm going to write. If they hadn't made that second pilot. Just think. So, and I have to say something else about you. Okay, so the last show of Seinfeld, where Phil lives, there are people who walk around. The last episode, nobody was out. And he told us a story that they had to turn the camera away from the regulars because they were dying laughing at Phil. They couldn't stop on camera, so they had to just put the camera on him because he was hilarious. Tell them about your audition and what Jerry did. Tell them what happened.
She is absolutely your PR
I'm as entertained as you. Tell them what happened.
Are we running into somebody's time?
No.
Okay.
What is it? 3:30 yet? It's not, is it?
No, you got a little bit of time
20?
still.
Oh, good.
Okay,
keep going.
Hilarious.
Tell them.
Okay, do you want to hear this story about?
We want to hear this
You
story.
want to hear this story.
So, Jackie Childs comes out, the character, they've written it. They want it to be Johnny Cochran, right? They want a Johnny Cochran type. That's in the breakdown. My agents tell me this. I know Johnny Cochran because we went to the same barber shop, right? Some of you have heard this. So I go in, and I know what I'm going to do, but I pre-read for the casting director, Mark Horowitz, right? I pre-read for him, and he goes, I say 5 words. He goes, stop, you got it. So we kind of travel across. Ted Lange read, Michael Dorn read, Michael Boatman read, all of us. And we all were in black suits in 100-degree weather in the valley. We looked like the Motown Mafia. Walking over to see Jerry and Larry, right? And Jerry's brand new Porsche is parked right in front of a fire hydrant. He didn't give a crap. He's just, boom, right there. We walk up. Everybody's waiting, everybody's nervous. They call me in. I go in. I start my thing. I'll start blowing. I'm like, yeah, who? And Jerry goes, stop, hold on, stop. Which for an actor is not great. Because in the middle you're thinking like, what, stop. He goes to the thermostat, turns the air conditioning up, and says, man, you're so funny, you're making me sweat. So I figured I got it. Yeah, it was good. Listen, the best thing we can do is be ourselves. I'm not trying to be anybody else. And so I bring myself everywhere. And that's what they related to. That's what they want. You want to play with the best, too, right? I'm a martial artist. I want to fight people better than me.
Just look at me when you said that.
Because he's a martial artist. He gets it. He's a judoka and a jiu-jitsu specialist. I know what's happening.
Going for that leg
But
lock.
if you want, bro. No, anyway.
I was there the day.
Y'all thought it was going to be a normal panel? I want to train with bigger, faster, stronger people. I want to train with people who are more skilled than I am. I want to train with people who know more than I do. I want to be less than. I don't want to be the best. I want to be somebody who strives to be better. And I need to have better people around me. So when I work with Angela Lansbury, I work with an Iona Morris, Jackson, I work with Jerry Seinfeld. These are tip-of-the-spear people. Iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. Be the best you can be in the best arena you can be. Don't be the big fish in the small pond. Be the biggest fish in the biggest pond you can be. Even in your own life, especially in your own life. It is what has made us successful. It is what will continue to make us successful. It's what makes me humble and grateful every single day I wake up and I have a shot. So you saying I got a shot? Let's do this. So that's how it is for me. That's how I do these things. That's why we're here.
You guys are dropping bombs today. This is good stuff. This is amazing stuff here. And Iona, I know that you do have to jump out a little bit early. I just want to ask you one last thing really before we kind of get out, but it's a little selfish thing for me. Because as I mentioned, you did my podcast when I was episode 6, little itty-bitty baby podcaster. And we wrapped our episode, it was like an hour plus, whatever it was. We were just kind of talking off the air, and you said something to me. And actually, it was off the air, but I cut it into the episode because I was like, I needed to hear it. Everyone else needed to hear it. And I wrote it down. I wanted to read it to you. Because I want some Iona gold here while we finish this up here. But you wrapped this up by saying, whatever your dreams are, whatever vision you see for yourself, I'm going to try not to get verklempt while I read this. Whatever your dreams are, whatever vision you see for yourself, if it continues to gnaw at you, listen to it and do it. Even if it seems like my idea will never be great, if you think it's great, that's enough.
Oh, that's the truth.
And that one, like, I remember, even reading it now, I'm just like, I can't get through this quote. And there's more to it, but that's all we're going to get through for now. But that quote, like, that helped me continue this podcast. It helped me push through because I was, like, just starting it out. I needed that encouragement, and I think everybody in this room could use that encouragement too. So I would just love, before we wrap up with your portion today, just a little bit more about some of that Iona gold for all of our members here with us today.
Thank you. And you did good, my son. You did good.
I made it.
Phil and I have a podcast called The Vision is Possible. Please check us out on YouTube, and we talk about that. And it started from a one-night conversation because I hired a social media company because I hated social media.
We all do.
I saw more food, somebody shot, and this guy helped me understand how to use social media to my benefit and also to engage with other people, and fabulous. And he said, and the one thing we want our clients to do is to do one IG Live, Instagram Live, and I said, that's not going to happen. 3-month contract. In the last 2 weeks, he said, Iona, not going to happen. Then he said, you've got like 2 more days. I said, okay, I'm going to call Phil because Phil had done them. And we liked it. We had fun. Well, it's 2 years later. And now we create The Vision is Possible. We don't only do it because we want you to hear what we have to say. We're doing it because we want to hear what you have to say. Because of what it gives for us to inspire us. And this is one of the things I believe. If you have a dream, an imagination of something that moves you, even if you're working at the friggin' post office, or you're a secretary, or you're wondering, how can I get my acting career going again? Or whatever it is you want to do, if you feel it in your soul, do it. Try it out. You don't know who to contact? Look for who is doing it like you want to do it, and read about them. Be inspired. And always remember, your dreams may not be the specific thing, but the intent of what you want from the dream can happen. There are many wardrobe mistresses who wanted to be an actress, but what they wanted to do is to serve the best of their talent, to work with people. They loved colors, they loved fabric, and all of a sudden, what they're doing is wardrobe. They may not be the star, but baby, the star can't be the star if she does not make them look good. So follow you and inspire others. And I love you. I love you, Phil. I just want to tell you, I could have been born into any other family, but this magnificent man is my baby brother. And he's wonderful. And when he speaks to you, he's speaking into you. And in this country right now, you guys, we need each other so much. And I just want to tell you in front of all these people, I like you and love you so much.
Love you too.
Iona Morris.
Thank you.
All hail the Queen.
Thank you.
What'd you say?
And now there were 2, and the cage fight begins.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, Phil, what do you want to talk about? What do we got to do?
Let me know.
All right, let's talk some Trek. How about you talk some Trek? And I think in a few moments, too, we can start some audience Q&A. So if anybody would like to ask Phil a question, please come on down, line up against that wall, and we'll take questions. That wall right there. Yep. So, Phil, I actually want to talk to you about Voyager a little bit here. I rewatched all the episodes ahead of this panel, and Voyager, One Small Step, incredibly underrated episode. And I think easily one of your strongest performances in Trek. I mean,
Thank you.
I love Rocks and Shoals, but you having to work essentially by yourself for that episode and doing some really intense, very emotional monologues, it's really amazing. And I think if you haven't watched this episode in a long time, do check out One Small Step again. I'd love to hear about your experiences on that, and what did you kind of channel into yourself to do these just very, very deep, very emotional kinds of things? You're essentially doing a very prolonged death scene, really.
Yeah. It's a unique exercise, and I was very fortunate to have Robert Picardo as the director. I am not a Trekkie. I'm just an actor, and I'm a comic book person mainly, but I'm not a fan, because as an actor, as an artist, it can hurt you. Like if I went into Seinfeld and I was like, "Oh, you were on the cover of Rolling Stone. I can't believe. Oh my God, I'm here." You diminish your power, yeah. And I was taught a long time ago, don't lose it. Don't diminish your power for anything. So I adhere to that pretty strongly. John Kelly is unique. He is the linchpin between NASA, or the ISA really, and the Federation. When I read it, I got it. Even though I'm not a Trekkie, I know the universe. I know how important it is. I know the legacy. And John, to me, was everything. So his humanity was the most important thing to portray. That's why in the beginning he's talking about the Yankees. So he's just a dude who's an amazing scientist and a very bright guy, but loves sports and has a real life, yeah? So he had a lot to lose, basically. I mean, you're setting the stakes very high. So the stakes were very high in this. They're always very, if you notice, in Star Trek, it's a morality play. The stakes are always brilliantly high. World, universe informing high. So that's what this was. I get that. I've done classics. I've done Shakespeare. I've done Chekhov. I've done all of those things. Those stakes are incredibly high. This is no different. These are our modern classics, right? Roddenberry is our modern Shakespeare. Yeah? So that's how I approached it. That's how I approached him. And having Bob Picardo there guiding me to tell me what had happened prior, why this was so important, was everything. And I can't thank him enough. It was really surreal.
And that must have been an interesting experience, though, because you basically have Bob Picardo one-on-one with you. So you're basically getting like the straight-up coaching from this person. He's giving you his vision direct.
Yep.
And just you and him doing the stuff together.
Yep. And we studied with the same acting coach at that time.
Who
and
was that
prior
with?
to that. His name was John Lynn. He was the acting coach for Jill Clayburgh, Dustin Hoffman, John Voight, so many brilliant actors. So we had the same process. And at the end of it, and I've told this before, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. He and I finished 3 a.m. We're in the water tower and the tank at Paramount. There's only 2 cars, my car and his car. It's 3 a.m. He comes over to me and he says, "I have to tell you, you exemplified every lesson our teacher ever gave us. You were the consummate actor this week, and I want to thank you for that." I mean, I used to tell this story, and I like you reading Iona's thing. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through, and I'm going to, now that I've even mentioned it, it's going to be hard. What you guys have to know is that when you have peers who acknowledge who you are as an artist, there is no greater honor. There's no check or money that can approximate that value. That's all good. It's all good, man. I lean into it. It's why I have a SAG card.
That was all fake right there.
I lean into it. I don't move from emotion. I don't move from the truth. I'm as present as it gets. My feet are under me.
You're also like muscle on muscle right there. Just touching your shoulder like, oh my God, this man is hard. He has warm marble. That's how he used to describe Bruce Lee, right? It was warm marble. This is a rock right here.
So that was that experience. It was really amazing. Every Star Trek experience I've had, I could be moved to tears. That's why I keep getting them. I walk in the casting office and they go, that's the guy. Because I leave nothing to chance. I give it all. I've been doing this since I was 17. It's the only thing I've ever done. That's 50 years. 50 years. And I'm not stopping.
Damn right. What really struck me about that episode, though, is really that final monologue, and especially because you begin that monologue, your character begins that monologue talking to his dad. Right. 6-year-old John Kelly talking to his dad. And I just wonder, did you think about your dad?
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, when I was there, I think my father had passed. And every time I'm at Paramount, I walk by his office and I go, Dad, we still holding it down, bruh. So, yeah, of course. I use him all the time. He's a part of Jackie. There's a lot of Greg Morris and Jackie. You use what you know, right? Alfred Hitchcock said, write what you know. Write what you feel. That's what you get. When I'm fake, you're like, eh. When I'm real, you're like there. So that's what I strive for.
Beautiful, yeah. I think let's jump to some audience questions. So please say your name and jump on into it.
Welcome, Hi, my name is Eric.
How are you, sir?
All right. Yes, I wanted to ask you a question about DS9. When you was the Jem'Hadar, how was it, putting the mask on or the makeup on, and then the scenes you had with Avery?
Brilliant. First, thank you. Jem'Hadars are difficult. As an alien species, they're difficult. However, there's a core in them that I think I possess because of martial arts, right?
There's definitely a warrior spirit that you had in that character. The warrior spirit
and the Zen quality that they have that Klingons don't. The Klingons are not Zen at all, right? They don't follow the Tao. They're not about any of that stuff. They're about messing stuff up, They're about chaos. Not so much with the Jem'Hadar. So when you spend 5 hours and you get there at 4 a.m. to put on your makeup and the headgear and everything to be ready for shooting at 9, it sets you. You're immersed into that character. There's no equivocation. You know exactly who this is. And so I appreciated the difficulty of it, the uncomfortableness of it. It's like getting a tattoo. People go, does it hurt? I go, yeah, it's supposed to. And if you can't take the pain, don't do it. That's the price of entry. So doing these characters, the price of entry is that discomfort. And it gives you a certain amount of grounding and a thrust when you play the character. So, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And how was it working with Avery?
Amazing.
That's a powerhouse right there.
I didn't know him prior. I'd met him in the makeup trailer. And again, iron sharpens iron, right? So I'm pretty type A. He's type A. He's a, he's a prime mover. So am I. And so in that cave, if you notice, he's like, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
You're going to die. What does my character say? It doesn't matter. It was fated before I was born. And that's how I live my life. Phil Morris lives his life like that. So to say those words, I'm not acting. And he wasn't acting. And that's the way you want it, right? And my voice, his voice in that cave, whoo, music. Later on, I got a chance to meet him and talk to him, sit down with him. My father was his influence in getting into the business. Yeah, there was a reason he became an actor. And so he and I are very good friends. And I love him whenever I see him. It's like meeting an old family member. He's a strong, smart, brilliant man. He's had a lot of weird press. And when I met him, I go, I get it. You scare people, boy. You scare people. They can't take it.
Yeah.
But he don't care. Yeah. And I didn't either. I'm like, you ain't scaring me. I need you. I need your energy. He was brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Sisko. Wonderful cosplay.
How you doing? My name is Cleveland Oaks. I recently got to see Dr. Gabor Mate at the United Palace give a talk, and he ended his talk like this, saying, the most important thing in life is to find out who you are, and for God's sakes, be who you are, right? Just like you said, your dad, Greg, was the inspiration to Avery Brooks in his career. Your dad was an inspiration to me growing up in the 1970s. I remember looking at a 1981 cover of an Ebony magazine, and I'm like, wow, Greg Morris has kids. He's got a family. And it was something amazing to me, and I was very excited to watch you and grow through your career. One of the reasons why I became a writer was because of your dad, right? Because of the inspiration of seeing that strong black father, right? And he reminded me of John Amos on Good Times, right? And even though I grew up with a dad and he was always in my life, your dad was somebody who embodied, find out who you are, and for God's sakes, be who you are. So my question after that long-winded statement is, how in a place like Hollywood, because I used to work in entertainment for a long time, and then I'm like, kind of don't want to do this anymore, right? It's not speaking to me. I want to speak to people. So how in a place that in Hollywood that asks you to fit in a certain box, and I've heard you and your sister both say it, how do you continue to be who you are and make money at that, and then still, work in this industry that asks you to fit in a certain box?
It's a great question. Thank you. Yeah. I think almost what you started with is the answer. The mentorship you have around you, the champions you have around you, the influences you have around you inform you. And my father was one of the few images, and it inspired so many people because they saw what was possible. So we lived in the house of possibilities. So there was nothing that I thought was impossible, ironically enough, right? It's weird. Because I lived in a house where it existed. I didn't have to hear about it. Nobody had to tell me about it. I woke up, it was up at the breakfast table, yeah? So as I lived that every day, there were no limits. I have a feeling and a philosophy. My philosophy is, if you are a person of integrity, your floor will only go so far down, right? You can only go so far down. But your ceiling is limitless. So if you look at yourself that way and you understand who you are, or you're finding out who you are, find out your integrity, find out what you will and won't accept, your floor will only go so far down. You will only allow yourself to fall so far. But then when you look up, you're like, oh my goodness, I can fly as high as I choose to fly. That's what we were taught. I truly believed that. So I manifested that, regardless of what the situation or the society was telling me. And I think we are all challenged with that. Who are we in it? When you find out who you are, or you find the road that you want to travel to who you are, then you're a bit inured to the vagaries of the industry, the world, society, because it is bigger than me. Hollywood is bigger than me. So I have to I have to be cast, I have to be the choice, I have to look the part. But I do what I do. You choose it or not. Not my business what you do. My business is my business. You don't want what I'm selling? Next! And that's strength. And that's where it comes from for me. And it's taken me a minute to get there. Because as soon as you get that one check, you're like, I need to be this. As an artist, that's death. You need to be whatever the moment says you need to be. Whatever the character says you need to be. Whatever the concept of your book, your novel, your script says to be. And I have to take myself out of the way a little bit in order for that to tell me, right? My characters, when I write scripts, I have to get out of the way a little bit. Let them tell me who they are, what they need to say. Then it becomes its own thing. A long way of saying, that's what I do.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for the answer.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you. Great question. I'm going to walk out of this room feeling so inspired. I want to do anything now. Oh, my God, I can do everything I want.
Hi, my name is Rosalind. I was wondering if you collect original comic book art, or if you have any particular signed issues or any issues that you're especially proud of and happy to have.
Absolutely. I don't collect our original art, just books, but I have a lot of signed books. I have a lot of books by Kirby, Jack Kirby. I have a lot of books by Liefeld and Neil Adams. A lot. I have a few from 1948 Captain Americas. I have Fantastic Four 3 through 100. I have a lot of really incredible books. It would take a while to get through the value of it all, but they all mean something to me.
Yeah.
I've read them all.
Did you, any of the ones that you collected when you were a child, were you later able to go get them signed by people?
Yeah, like the Neil Adams of the world and stuff. Yeah, but I don't. I like to talk to people. If I see somebody I love, I love John Noble. Right? He's amazing. I had to say hi to him. I just love artists. I love the craft. I love this. I don't need a selfie. I don't need an autograph. I don't need a thing from you. I need you. And so the things that I go get, I get. I drive a lot of fast, exotic cars. It's not because they're exotic cars. It's what it says for me. It's not the car. It's not the road I'm driving. I drive a lot of nice cars. I drive a lot of nice roads. It's me. It's how I feel about it. So yeah, I appreciate that, but I'm not a speculator. I'm not a collector like that. I'm not looking to sell anything. I want it. I want to feel it. I want to own it. I want to hear it. So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's all about that sentimental value. That's what matters.
I always think about selling them. I mean, I have 20,000. I'm like, I gotta get rid of. What am I doing? And as soon as I get close to selling them, and I always call somebody, I'm like, I'm trying to sell. So I was okay, yeah, listen, I want to do this, and like as soon as it gets close, I just can't do it. I can't. They're my people. They're my babies.
Hi, my name is John. Regarding your martial arts background, what inspired you to get into it in the first place?
Well, my dad started Mission Impossible in 1966. There's a man named Bruce Tegner who had done a lot of early martial arts books.
Okay.
My dad and all the crew went to him because they were doing karate for the first time, really, in television. So they wanted to learn it. I was 6. I started then. I loved it. I fell in love with it. It was amazing to me. I met Bruce Lee when he was doing The Green Hornet. Because my dad is Mission Impossible. So, it was no deal to go to 20th Century Fox and meet Van Williams, whatever his name is, and Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
I was enamored with it then. I became a Bruce Lee fan then. I was 9. I found the training partner of Bruce Lee's to study Wing Chun with. In the movie, Like Water, the first line in it, Like Water is the documentary about Bruce Lee, made by the Bruce Lee estate. The first line in the movie is a letter. Dear Hawkins, Hawkins Chung was my sifu. I studied with him until he died. Right? That's who Bruce wrote letters to discuss what he was learning in America. Bruce left Hong Kong, incomplete in the Wing Chun system. My sifu stayed with Ip Man, who's I know it's so martial arts nerdy, until Ip Man died, learned the entire system. I learned the entire system from my sifu. I mean, it was brilliant. So my connection to martial arts is deep.
So was the Wing Chun system that you learned?
Yes.
And did you expand into other systems, or is that the one you...
I started with other systems first.
Okay.
Judo, Yawara, Salat, Aikido,
Okay.
A lot of different systems. And then I loved Bruce Lee so much, I just was looking for that.
Okay.
Then when I found it, it gave me everything. It gave me groundwork, it gave me close-range combat, distance fighting, everything, everything. So I was very happy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's funny you mentioned Like Water. I'm actually in that documentary. I'm credited in that doc because I gave those folks some footage of Gene LaBelle and Milo Savage.
Come on now.
Yeah, got that connection.
See?
Next question.
Hello, my name's Andrew.
Hello, Andrew.
Good to meet you. You're phenomenal, sir. I truly
Enough said.
Thank you.
Especially your acting, but your voice work is legendary, especially with all the work you've done with superhero content, especially including the Doom Patrol, as well as other phenomenal projects, including John Jones, the Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
What was it like playing all these characters, especially the ones that you've grown up reading?
Well, I grew up reading all of them, right?
Yes.
That's the crazy cool part. Really. I mean, I got a leg up on everybody. Yeah, honestly. And they wanted other people for the roles that I read for, and they were just like, how are we going to have God? This is the dude, right? I feel honored. I'm a card-carrying member. If I'm happy, you're happy. There's no one who needs to be more satisfied with John Jones, Vandal Savage, Jonah Hex, I mean, the list is really endless, than me. And if I'm happy, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be happy because I care as much as you do. I'm just like you. I mean, really. And I think I love it. I'm humbled by it. So I carry this, it's not even a weight. I carry this honor with me into every character that I play. I carry the honor of my father. I carry the legacy of my family. I carry the honor of African-American artists. I carry you guys and when you ask me questions about my characters, I honor you. I play these characters not just for me, I play them for you. And that's why I think they're so good, and that's why I love doing it, and I won't stop until they kick me out of this thing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lori.
Hi, Lori.
I have a just deep dive Star Trek question. So when you were auditioning or getting roles on 90s Trek, were they aware that you had been on the original series as a child? And when you were working on those shows, did people want to talk to you about it, and did they know about it?
They didn't know, no. I mean, yeah, they were not aware. The first day of Star Trek 3, it was their first day of shooting. And they're all coming back, and they hadn't seen each other in a while. And you see, Nichelle's talking to George, and George is talking to Walter, and Walter's talking. And they're all like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm getting made up, right? I'm there, getting made up. And they say, "Hey, welcome to the set. How are you doing? Who are you?" I say, "Hi. We know each other." They're like, "We do?" I said, "Yeah, I'm Phil Morris. I'm Greg Morris's son." They were like... So, yeah, that's how that was. So that was brilliant. And you know what? I didn't really care.
Because you didn't want to bring it up to them?
Didn't care. Nope. I want you to know me now. I want you to know who I am now. I want you to know what I'm bringing today. I don't want you to be like, "Oh, come on." I read for Leonard Nimoy. He didn't give me the job. I read for him. I auditioned for him. I auditioned for every role except for the Miri role that I played. And I was honored to do so because they need to see it. This is big stuff, man. And it's written by D.C. Fontana, It's real money. It's not a joke. This is professional stuff. This isn't the Y. It's not local theater. They got to see you bring heat. And so that's what I do. And so I'm honored when they call me because I'm like, they know I can, okay, they want to see my heat. Let me bring it. And so I'm really honored to come in every single time. And no, they do not know. They knew only once when I did the Jem'Hadar, they knew that I'd done it. And they explained to me that Jem'Hadars were very different than Klingons. But that's the only reason, that's the only thing they brought up. They didn't go, "Hey, welcome to the club." No, they're like,
right.
"The Klingons this, Jem'Hadar's that. Are you ready to go?"
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And did you tell anyone after the fact, like when it was done? Like,
nope.
Oh, interesting.
Nope, I only talked to you guys about that.
Okay.
We're special.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. So, Phil, we got so much more we could talk about, but we're supposed to only be here for an hour, so I guess we got to wrap it up. But, much like your sister, she left with some amazing advice, some bombs in this hour here we got here. But, likewise here, as we wrap up this panel, not just this panel, but this convention, we're headed into some turbulent times in the world, and I would love it just if you could share with us any kind of message of support or hope that can help us get through these rough days ahead.
I think it's points of connection as opposed to points of disconnect. We're looking at too many points of disconnect where we don't get along, how we're not fitting in. Star Trek is about the exact opposite of that. It is the ethic we should all have. We all matter. We're all important. We're all valuable. Or we would not exist. You're here for a reason. It's all perfect, regardless of what we think. It's all perfect. It's a lesson. Learn the lesson. Move forward. That's it. I want to be connected. I don't want to be disconnected. I want to be loved. I don't want to be hated. I want to be included. I don't want to be excluded. How do I find those points of connection? That's my challenge. If we all did that, if we all tried to find our points of connection as opposed to the points of disconnect, wouldn't we come together better? Even with our differences. Because we wouldn't be looking at our differences, we'd be looking at our similarities. And then we would be peaceful. And we would allow each other to exist and coexist. So find the moments and points of connection.
Be like water.
That's right.
Phil Morris, thank you so much. This has been amazing. You're amazing. Your inspiration, genuine, 100%. Give it up for Phil Morris. Thanks for checking out this episode of Trek Untold and for enjoying one of my panels during Trek Long Island 2025. If you want to stay up to date on everything that Trek Untold is doing, go ahead and follow us on social media at Trek Untold, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, pretty much all the different places. If you're in a position to financially support this podcast, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/TrekUntold. There are several tiers where you can offer your financial support to the show and help keep the warp core going at full steam, or I guess full optimization. We're not going to inject any warp cores here, but we're going to keep going at full speed. If you want to stay up to date with Trek Long Island, visit treklongisland.com to see what's going on with them. We've got basically a full year from when this podcast is dropping to when the next show is going to be, which will now be in mid-June 2026. We've already announced one headliner, and by the way, that's the Na Visitor. So stay tuned on Trek Long Island's social media feeds or their website for more information on who else is going to be coming in 26. And until next time, I'm Matthew Kaplowitz. This has been Trek Untold. Thanks for watching, and remember, fortune favors the bold.
Trek Untold, the Star Trek podcast that goes beyond the stars, is powered by the Rageworks Podcast Network and affiliated with Nerd News Today.